Hello. This is my clicker? Okay. So I'm Dr. Mike Liccardi. I'm National Director of Pathology and Laboratory Medicine for the Department of Veterans Affairs. And I am absolutely delighted to be here today on Bold Friday to show you all our new genetic diagnostic testing application, GDX. And GDX is designed to empower veterans and give them more options for their health care. What this really does is it takes genetic testing out of the ivory towers and it puts it right in our veterans' pockets. So you probably haven't heard about GDX before, but I imagine, is this it? How do I advance the slides? I thought we only had this problem at the VA. Okay, there we go. You've all heard about the cancer moonshot. And that, of course, is the refocusing of federal research efforts to get us 20 years of cancer research done in the next 10 years. And with that, the VA has partnered with the Department of Energy to mobilize all of our research and clinical data to support that effort. More recently, you probably saw the Secretary of the VA go to the White House to show off our new Care Anywhere telemedicine program, and that's that briefcase right there. And what that does is it takes out our specialty care and it takes it out to places where you wouldn't normally be able to get that available. Well, what these all have in common is they need access to clinical genetic information. And I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. None of that is available, at least none of the stuff that you need, in the medical record. Yeah, there's test results in there, but the raw data, the stuff that you actually need to get in and analyze to make this kind of stuff happen, it's not here. It's not there. You can't get it. Now, that shouldn't be that much of a surprise, okay, because that's true pretty much for all your lab data. When we get a serum calcium, I don't measure serum calcium. What I do is I measure the electropotential across an ion-specific electrode, and I get a voltage. And then I take that voltage and I turn that into a calcium concentration. And I send that over to the doctor as a test result. That's what they want. They don't care what the voltage in my electrode is. But I use that. I use that for quality control and assurance. That's how I tell if my electrodes are getting dirty or they need to be replaced, and I can swap them out. But 75 years from now, I'm going to convert that voltage into the same concentration of calcium like I would do it today. I don't need that data. Genetic testing is different. Okay, that procedural data could be 3,000 genes and their associated variants. We may initially do that test to predict what your risk of cancer is for a particular cancer. We can go back and revisit that data later and look for a different type of cancer. And if you get that cancer, we can probably go look and find out what kind of therapeutic drug might be effective. We can go back and look at that data for things we hadn't even thought about when we did the test. So say a new antidepressant comes out, I want to know if it'll work in a patient. I can go look at that data and see whether it's going to work or not. Okay, I've had a patient with cancer, new cancer treatment trial opens up. I can go look at that and see if they qualify, get them into that program right away. Well, that's what the promise of this kind of remote consult and that kind of thing is, to get that kind of thing out to the field so we can do that on patients. But I just told you that that data's not in there. So, why does my boss look so confident sitting out there telling that to the president that he's going to be able to deliver that stuff? And the answer to that is GDX. So what we did for GDX is we had this problem already. We had this problem that we had an old system and we had trouble just getting our referral tests in. These would come in, we had a large system, you'd put them, scan them into the record, you'd have to remember what hospital is that record at, what lab did that test. Providers had to look all over the place, they had a lot of trouble finding it. So what happened then is, I've gone forward one. What happened then is, I'm going ahead, we'll jump right up to there. What happened is we took 3 elements from 3 different programs. From the Vinci program under Scott Duvall, I got Dr. Julie Lynch and her tools for parsing and adjusting data and making genetic data available. We went to Huntington, West Virginia, which had the only modern genetic information system in the VA. And I went over to Neil Evans and Kathy Frisbee, and we got that community care, that teleconsult, that Care Anywhere package, which was the briefcase. And we took elements of that, put it all together, and with the help of Patrick Littlefield in the innovations office, we are able to put that all together and make that into GDX. And what GDX does is it takes the data from the laboratories, so that's both your test result and that procedural data, sends that out to Huntington. The Huntington server serves as basically a handler, redirects that, and it sends it off to the Connected Care server. Okay, from that database, then Connected Care is able to serve that up to the researchers, but more importantly, it can go to the providers and it can go to the patients. So that's what this looks like. This is the tablet version, and it is the provider screen. Our provider can go ahead and they can log into GDX using their standard daily login, and they can pull up their patient and see their test results. Once they see their test results, they get them displayed like this. They can go and they can get, here's the login screen. They can go in and they can get the list, and then it shows detailed test results. And with that detailed test results is also here, this button. They can go up and they can get a PDF style report if it came with that, or they can get the procedural data that came in if they need to take it and do another analysis, write another report. It's all there available for them. No more hunting through different EHRs, going to different labs, trying to find things, having the patient remember where things are. Not anymore. It's all in one location, and in one spot, they can find all the labs that the VA has paid for, regardless of who did it. Now, we know that there's a lot of veterans who are going to providers, and those providers may not be in our system. Okay, they may not have access to the computer. Maybe they are, they don't have their ID, maybe they're not signed up for telehealth. They still need to deliver care that's just as good as everybody else. So what we do is, in this case, I'm showing the cell phone because most people don't walk around with a tablet or a PC. They have their cell phone. But when the veteran goes into that office and somebody asks them, hey, let me see that your genetic tests, they don't have to go and fill out paperwork and forms and return of information and figure out where things are and get releases and deal with all these companies. Instead, they can go right to their pocket and they can open it up and they can look, run the telemedicine, pick GDX, pull it up, and there are their reports, just like they would have for the provider. Okay? And it's got all the functionality that they have for their cell phone. So now, if they ask them, hey, I need your test results, they don't have to deal with all the nonsense. They just say, sure, give me a couple seconds and I will airdrop it to you. So a couple other things that we have under the hood there as well. One of the things is it will launch off the title page. You can launch a secure messaging. So if you have a question about your test, you can go ahead and contact your provider. You can also launch the whole telemedicine suite. So if you want to set up a remote consult, or you want to go ahead and set up an appointment using the appointment app, you can do that. And the other thing that we have here, this is additional information. Now, at launch, this is just going to have links out to the Veterans Health Library and Medline. But we have in the works right now something I call provider-assisted web search. So I don't know about all of you out there, but the last time I tried to look up some health information on the web, I had to wade about through 3 pages of things that were not relevant to me. And I'm a pathologist, I'm trained, I know what to look for. Well, if you're sick, you don't have time for that kind of frustration and misinformation. So we're going to fix that with assisted search. When is this coming out? Well, I mentioned the launch date. The launch date for this, we start user training on Monday. Field testing is October. Our plan is to launch in January, early January of next year. And probably will look a little bit different than we saw because I expect field testing to make some stylistic changes. But the alpha right now is running perfectly fine on my cell phone. So I'd like to thank all the people who got together to help and make this happen. And together, all of us would like to thank all of our veterans for their service. See, we all think that 20 years of promises, even if they're coming in 10 years, isn't fast enough, okay? We want to welcome everybody home and give it to them now. So, thank you.